Hi, my name's Meredith, and welcome to another Anvil tutorial. Today, I'm going to show you how to build data-driven web apps using Anvil's data bindings. We're going to build a to-do list app, which lets you store and edit reminders for yourself. We start by opening the Anvil editor and creating a new app. To store our reminders, we're going to add the Data Tables service to our app. We'll create a new table to store our reminders. Each reminder will be a row in this table, and each reminder has a text description, and it can either be done or not done. So we'll make a text column and call it description, and a Boolean yes or no column called done. Let's put in some sample data. We're going to set the permissions so we can read and write this table from client-side code. This means anyone who has our app's URL can add and remove reminders. That's okay though, as long as we use Anvil's private app sharing and only give the URL to people we trust. A private app is like a Google Docs sharing link. Only someone with this link can access it. Watch our next video to learn how to build apps that only expose data to certain users. Back to our app. We have a table of reminders, and we want to display them all on our page. Let's set up our page visually first. I'll put a label here as a title for our app, and I'll add a column panel to create a card. This is where we'll display our reminders. We're going to have a list of reminders in Python, and we want to display them as a list of components on the page. So we use a repeating panel. A repeating panel takes a list of items and creates a form for each item in the list. We double-click to edit this form. And yes, this will be displaying rows from the reminders table. This is just a hint for the editor. We'll wire the repeating panel up to the reminders table later on. We're going to display a checkbox for each reminder. We want the text to display the description of this reminder, and the box to be checked or unchecked depending on whether it's been done. Instead of doing this manually in code, we're going to use Anvil's data bindings. A data binding lets you set any property of a component to a Python expression. Let's add one. We'll say that the text property of this checkbox is set to this Python expression. Self.item is this item in the list. In this case, it's a row from the reminders table. So we set the text to what's in the description column. Now let's do the same thing for the checked property. The box is checked if the reminder is done. Write back means that if we check or uncheck the checkbox, we will also update this row with the new value. That's it. Double-click to get out of the inner form. And now all we need to do is set the items property of the repeating panel. Let's switch to code. This is the constructor, which runs when the form is first initialized. The table we've created is called apptables.reminders, and we can search it to get all its rows. We're done. Let's run it and see what happens. It's displaying the rows from the table, and I can check and uncheck these boxes. If we stop the app and go back to the data table, we can see my changes in the database. So we're nearly there. Now all we need is the ability to add new reminders and delete old ones. Let's start with adding. I'm putting a text box here. Let's call it New Reminder Box. We'll give it some placeholder text for when the box is empty. Now I'll add a button for adding the reminder. I'll set its text and give it an icon. When this button gets clicked, we want to add a new row to the reminders table. So we call apptables.reminders.addRow. We want the description to be the text from self.newReminderBox, and done starts off as false. The addRow function returns the new row. We want to display it on our repeating panel. So we make a list from the existing items, and then we add the new row to that. This updates our display. Let's try it again. Great, we can create new items. Last part then. Make it possible to delete them. We're going to add a little red X to each row that deletes it. We'll edit the row, add a link, let's call it delete link. We'll give it no text, but we will give it an X icon. We'll put that X on the right-hand edge, and we'll make it red. If we double-click this link, we're editing the code that runs when the link gets clicked. Notice that we're not editing form 1 anymore. We're actually editing the item template form, which is what gets repeated for every item in the list. Self.item is this item. In this case, it's just a row from the reminders table. We can call delete to remove the row from the table, and then we can call self.removeFromParent to remove this form from the page, so the checkbox disappears too. Let's run the app and see what we've built. We can add new rows and delete old ones. And if we stop the app and go back to the data table, we'll see that we really did add and delete those rows. Now your app is ready to use from anywhere in the world. Click the gear icon and choose Publish App. Copy and paste this private link. Now you, or anyone else you send it to, can use your app right away from anywhere. If you want to explore what we've just built, you can open this app in the Anvil editor. Just click the link underneath this video. Stay tuned for our next video, when I'll show you how to use authentication and server modules to securely serve many users with one app. See you next time.